Okay, so the thing you have to realize about Appa is that his name is a palindrome. It's spelled the same forwards as it is backwards. This means that no matter what happens to him, he will have the same destiny. So if he was never stolen, all the same things would have happened. Alright, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, bye-bye.
What the fuck?
Okay, in all seriousness, Appa getting stolen was probably one of the most significant plot points that happened in Book 2. It threw a huge monkey wrench in Team Avatar's plans to tell the Earth King about the eclipse. First by delaying their time to arrive in Ba Sing Se, and later allowing Long Feng to blackmail Team Avatar into not telling the Earth King about the war. So what if Appa was never stolen? How would things have played out differently? Now, I always say this in every what if video, but I'll say it again. There's really like infinite different things that could happen when speculating about these what if scenarios, but I'll try to look at least 14,605 possible outcomes and see which one is the most likely. So let's say in this scenario, the Sandbenders don't even find Appa, or let's say somehow Team Avatar exits the library in enough time to fight them off. Either way, Appa doesn't get stolen. This means Team Avatar wouldn't be stuck in the desert, which means one of the greatest scenes in the show wouldn't happen. Seriously though, they would just fly right to Ba Sing Se and get there much quicker than they did. This means they would never reunite with Suki at Full Moon Bay where all the ferries were going across the lake. That also means they wouldn't be there to help that one family across the Serpent's Pass, which kinda sucks for them. It also means they would arrive in Ba Sing Se a few weeks before the drill attack. Now, we know from the text at the beginning of the 16th episode of Book 2 that the time between when Appa was stolen and when Appa was captured in Ba Sing Se by Long Feng was 4 weeks. This means that Team Avatar would arrive in Ba Sing Se no more than 4 weeks prior to the drill attack, possibly even closer to it. Now, they would still put in a request to see the Earth King, and they would still be told that they have to wait 6 to 8 weeks, or maybe even longer. And they wouldn't have Bosco's birthday party to try to see the Earth King, because that would still be weeks away. So they might just be chilling and waiting in the city while the Fire Nation attacks with the drill. Alright, so here's where things get a little tricky. When the Fire Nation attacked, the Earth Kingdom military seemed to be unable to handle the situation. And it was only because Team Avatar happened to arrive when they did that they managed to defeat the drill. Now, it's entirely possible that the Earth Kingdom knew about this attack for days or even weeks before it happened, because it looks like there's a lot of barren, flat land stretching for miles or kilometers around that area of Ba Sing Se. And the drill seemed to be moving pretty slowly and to be coming from some Fire Nation settlement in the distance. Even Suki had heard rumors that a big attack was happening.
The Fire Nation controls the Western Lake. Rumor has it they're working on something big on the other side and they don't want anyone to find out what it is.
So it's entirely possible that Team Avatar could have known about the attack coming because they maybe could have seen it while flying over to Ba Sing Se, or maybe General Sung would have heard that the Avatar was in the city and would have sent for help from him as soon as he felt he lost control of the situation. So basically, I still think in this scenario that Team Avatar would still defeat the Krill. I mean the drill. But I think in this case, the drill would be the motivator for them to just bust into the Earth King's palace and tell him about the war. Now, the Earth King was originally going to dismiss their claims about the war until they showed him the bite mark from Appa on Long Feng's leg. Now, that wouldn't be there in this situation, and Team Avatar might not even know who Long Feng is, so they'd have to find another way to convince the Earth King of the war. Honestly, I can't really think of anything they could do other than just straight up kidnapping him and taking him to the outer wall. So let's say they do that in this situation, because it'll lead to something interesting. So Long Feng still gets arrested and all this stuff, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, this whole time, Jet would have still been arrested for causing unrest in the city, but he never would have been used by the Dai Li in their blackmail against Team Avatar. And he never would have died in the process of searching for Appa. Zuko probably would not have heard that the Avatar was in Ba Sing Se, at least not at the time he did, and he never would have had that great character developing moment that he had in the Lake Laogai episode. Also meanwhile, Suki probably would have just stayed working at Full Moon Bay, and Azula never would have been tracking Appa down and ran into the Kyoshi warriors and had that big fight with them. So this means that Azula never would have been able to acquire the Kyoshi warrior uniforms that she used to infiltrate Ba Sing Se, and she probably never would have gotten the idea to infiltrate Ba Sing Se because I think she got that idea after she got the Kyoshi warrior uniforms. Appa never would have gone to the Eastern Air Temple when he was missing and met Guru Patik and been able to carry the message from Guru Patik to Aang. Guru Patik said he always expected to help the Avatar someday, so I'm not sure if he would just actively try to reach out to him at some point, but it is possible possible that Aang wouldn't learn about chakras and how to control the Avatar state in this scenario, at least not at this time. So anyway, if Azula never infiltrated Ba Sing Se, she would not have heard about the plan to invade the Fire Nation during the eclipse. And she also would have never been able to take control of Ba Sing Se using the Dai Li. And even though Aang might not have received Avatar state training in this scenario, he also would not have been shot by Azula's lightning. So what I'm really leading to here is that a full-scale Earth Kingdom invasion of the Fire Nation might be possible, as originally planned. So let's say that happens, because it sounds interesting. Now, in the invasion that happened in the show, the Fire Nation knew that the invasion force was coming, so they used a strategy called the Feigned Retreat. They kept retreating and retreating until they lured the invasion force into a trap with their airships. I think this is why it seemed pretty easy at first for the Earth Kingdom and the Water Tribe to invade. However, in this scenario, there would be a much bigger fleet and invasion force. It might be difficult for them to sneak past the naval blockade surrounding the Fire Nation. In the show, it said they snuck through by hiding themselves with steam created by the Waterbenders. I'm not sure if they would be able to do this with an entire Earth Kingdom fleet. We never really saw much of the Earth Kingdom's navy at all, but it's heavily implied that it's vastly inferior to the Fire Nations. I don't think they could just use submarines to travel the entire way from the Earth Kingdom to the Fire Nation. It's stated they have a limited air supply, so they probably are a lot less efficient than just traveling by boat. That's probably why they didn't use the submarines until they needed to in the show anyway. But let's say with the Avatar leading the way and the combined forces of the Earth Kingdom and the Water Tribe, they're able to get past the blockade somehow and still advance towards the capital of the Fire Nation. Now, because of a conflict with the blockade, the Fire Nation would have a couple days' notice about the invasion force coming, but they wouldn't have months to prepare like they did in the show. So now the Earth Kingdom / Water Tribe fleet arrives at the Great Gates of Azulan, and maybe they have a lot more than 5 submarines. You know, because there would have been a lot more resources to use in this scenario, what with the whole Earth Kingdom at their disposal. Well, some of the Earth Kingdom. Some of it still be conquered by the Fire Nation. So I'm thinking they land on the beaches, and there's a big intense battle. But who would win? This is where it starts to get even more speculative. Now, the Fire Nation still might have their airships and still might be able to use the same tactic they used in the show. But without the month's notice that they had in the show, maybe the airships wouldn't have been ready. Maybe they wouldn't have had enough time to strategize. They also might not have been anticipating the eclipse. Now, also in this scenario, it's still possible that Aang might find Ozai and defeat him. Now, I don't really know what Aang's plan was in the show to defeat Ozai during the Day of Black Sun. There's the whole thing after that where he says he doesn't want to kill Ozai, so I don't know what he was planning during the Day of Black Sun. Maybe he just thought he could, like, restrain him while his bending was blocked out, and then he thought he could, like, imprison him after that or something. I don't know. But I do know that if Azula tried to mislead Aang and his friends again, she wouldn't have Dai Li agents to help her. Now, Aang also wouldn't have firebending training in this scenario, just like he didn't in the show, but I guess that wouldn't matter that much. As Sokka said, the eclipse would block it out. So yeah, if Appa was never stolen, I think the original planned full Earth Kingdom invasion of the Fire Nation could have easily still happened, and possibly been successful. It's almost poetic. The thing that had a butterfly effect that ruined the invasion plan happened in the same episode that the plan was formed. I just thought of that right now. It's not even in my script. So if Aang did defeat Ozai and the Fire Nation surrendered and stuff, they'd have to find someone to replace him. And this whole time, Zuko and Iroh probably would have still been living in Ba Sing Se, working at Iroh's tea shop. Perhaps Team Avatar would ask Iroh to be the new Fire Lord because Iroh had already helped them in the past. But they still probably wouldn't be on the best terms with Zuko. Also, Jet would still be alive somewhere, probably in prison in Ba Sing Se, and who knows what would happen to him. Sokka and Suki never would have rekindled their relationship, and Zuko and Mei never would have rekindled their relationship. Get it? Zuko rekindling his relationship because fire and kindling and Also, if you haven't realized, pretty much all the side adventures in Season 3 would not have happened because Team Avatar would not have been traveling through the Fire Nation. But in conclusion, I think Appa not getting stolen would eventually lead to a full-scale Earth Kingdom invasion of the Fire Nation during the Day of Black Sun. But after that, I'm not really sure who would win, and it gets far too speculative for me to continue. But what do you think would happen if Appa was never stolen? And who do you think would win in this scenario of a full-scale Earth Kingdom invasion of the Fire Nation? Leave your opinions in the comments. Also, what other what-if Avatar scenarios would you like me to cover? Leave those in the comments as well. Alright, one more thing to talk about. So if you didn't know, there's this thing that the Lego company has called Lego Ideas, and it's where just anyone can create an idea for a Lego set. So this guy messaged me because he's creating an Avatar Lego set, and in order for it to actually be made by Lego, it needs to get 10,000 supporters on the actual Lego Ideas website. And I already mentioned this in a previous video, and since then he's gotten about 400 8,800 more supporters, but he still needs 8,800 more supporters, so if you haven't supported him yet, I'd really appreciate it if you went over to the LEGO Ideas website and supported him. It's completely free, you just make an account and press support. It'll help me out a lot, it'll help him out a lot, so I'll put a link in the description. Subscribe to my channel for more Avatar videos, follow me on social media, support me on Patreon. Big thanks to my patrons, Jay Campbell and Colleen West, and Kyle Alvarez. Hit that bell button thing for notifications. I always forget to tell people that. Alright, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, blah 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 blah. Alright, go check on your pet, make sure they haven't been stolen. You never know what butterfly effects that might have on your life, especially if your pet's a butterfly.